So, everyone, you've been asking me to do more versus videos. So today we're going to be doing Harry Potter versus his Dark Materials. I know what everyone's thinking, but the most upvoted one was Witcher versus Stormlight, so why aren't you doing that one? Well, I need to look out for the growth and health of my channel, and it would definitely be better for me to do that either when Witcher is about to come out or the next Stormlight book, and both of those are still a bit off, and I'm a hack fraud who needs money! So I'm gonna wait till be a bit closer to either one of those released, but with his Dark Materials just around the corner and Harry Potter being Harry Potter, I figured it'd be a good time to jump in and do a versus videos for arguably the kings and queens, however you want to gender identify them, of YA fantasy. You know the categories, but I gotta do this for the people who haven't seen my versus videos before. We have world, plot, themes, magic system, character, readability, and setting. If you think any of these are unfair for me to use for whichever book you are biased for here, because it's always the people who are mad that their series they like better didn't win that complain about the categories, just know it's the one I use for all these versus videos, and if you want to do a different series of categories, go make your own video. This is mine. I own this. This is mine. And also, this shouldn't be taken very seriously. It's a versus video about fantasy books, so let's everyone just relax.
Have a good time.
Without any further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about these fantasy series worlds. This point is fairly one-sided, and that's because Harry Potter has a few flat-out advantages. There's more Harry Potter books, more pages, more time devoted to developing this wacky wizard world that J.K. Rowling loves so much. On top of that, the focus for Harry Potter's writing is definitely more aimed towards developing the world than his Dark Materials in return. A larger percentage of the existing page time is focused at developing the Harry Potter world. That's just objectively true. And with the Wizarding World being something that has had so much energy and time put into developing it, while it may not be the deepest fantasy world ever by any means, it does beat out his Dark Materials here almost essentially by default. While I do prefer the grittier, on-the-ground development we get from Lyra's perspective in his Dark Materials, stripping away all outside factors and just looking at the resulting worlds for the series, Harry Potter's is bigger and more well-realized as a whole. So yes, the first point goes to Harry Potter! Next up, we do have plot. And while the world point was obviously more skewed towards Harry Potter, the plot point will be the inverse. Harry Potter's plots don't diverge that much from a formula throughout the original series. It's very much so, they go back to school, Voldemort, kind of a third influence is introduced to the story, whether it's Sirius Black or the Order of the Phoenix or Goblet of Fire, some other thing is happening, but Voldemort is somehow going to try to kill Harry Potter. Obviously, this changes up more towards the end of the series, but even then, Harry Potter's plot has never been what the series is praised for critically by any means. That's not where Harry Potter gains its greatest accolades. His Dark Materials plot, on the other hand, is praised widely for being so complex and heavily themed for a YA series. Again, something I'm still shocked this is classified as YA. His Dark Materials has some heavy-ass theming going on throughout it. But this story's plot covers themes about religion, it's about growing up. It does have typical YA themes of growing into adulthood, falling in love, but there's so much happening in the wider world, and our characters have so much personality within it, their actions have such grand consequences, and the plot is just so well realized. Everything makes sense, and it's tied so deeply to so many of these other points. I think most people will agree with me here. His Dark Materials plot is just on another level for most YA, and while this series does have its flaws, I think it absolutely slams Harry Potter's more formulaic and repetitive plot throughout its series into the ground. And because I just briefly mentioned theme, let's go ahead and slide right into that point. His Dark Materials theming is some of the best I have seen in fantasy, just not in YA fantasy, in fantasy. Philip Pullman had excellent criticisms of religion, our society, the way we treat children, cultural differences, everything builds up here so absolutely well. And while Harry Potter's theming is not weak for even just a fantasy series, its themes are fine. Themes of friendship, destiny, pressure, growing up, all there. It just doesn't stack up to the level we get within his Dark Materials. Not even close. If you are an adult who has not read his Dark Materials since you were very young, I recommend you go back and give it another look, because I think you will be blown away by the level of depth and detailed criticism you can't pick up as a kid because they're such lofty adult themes that exist within the text for his Dark Materials that you got to go back and read it, because it's wonderful. I really enjoyed the nuanced parallels to our world that exist within his Dark Materials. And also, Christians who are mad at Harry Potter, you should be way more mad at his Dark Materials. I know a lot of these like angry Christians online, they just like to be angry about what's popular so that way they get tied into the headlines as well. But in terms of fantasy series that shit on organized religion, man, his Dark Materials takes the cake. Now, we're going to slide into the magic systems point, and this one can be taken either way, which I know some Harry Potter fans are having their old tookuses clinch because I even say that, because Harry Potter fans will defend Harry Potter for being the best magic system ever, and if you like soft magic systems, you can legitimately make that claim. But I really love his Dark Materials more built into certain aspects of character magic system, the way it's more mysterious, there's more magical items that you don't get fully explained, they're just something so whimsical and magical about that. And the demons aspect is 10 out of 10. The demons within his Dark Materials are one of the best magical ideas I've ever seen in fantasy. They're great companions for everybody. They have such great character reflections. You can gain more insights into what type of character someone is based off what their demon is. The fact that they change more when you're a kid. All of that's so wonderful. Like that's so brilliant. But Harry Potter's going to take this point because Harry Potter's magic system is just unbelievably rich. Some of it may not be the deepest, it may not be the most consequential character growth or things like that, but if I am just looking at raw, what is the magic system, how much is there, and how much is it tied to the world, holy crap, Harry Potter's magic system is in everything. Literally built into paintings and walls. Like, this is here, and it's so well done. I enjoy his Dark Materials magic system for its tying in with characterization and theming, but if I strip away the considerations of how it improves those, and just look at the magic systems, Harry Potter's just kind of wins by like a, but what about factor. Like Harry Potter, you can just go, but what about this part of the magic system? But what about that part of the magic system? What about this part of the magic system? What about that? And it's so huge. It's such a tidal wave of information and aspects of the world that I have to essentially give that to Harry Potter, because it's just like, okay, we have a few mighty Spartan warriors for his Dark Materials magic system, but then this flood of enemy soldiers just completely overwhelms like the few Spartans remaining. It's a sad way to lose a point, but I gotta give it to Harry Potter here. Next up, we have character, and this is something that again will be a controversial point to give out. Harry Potter has wonderful characters. Problem is, the best characters are not the main characters. That's a common criticism of the series, and one I find to be very true. Snape, Sirius, Voldemort, Dolores Umbridge, these are the most interesting characters Harry Potter has to offer. Hagrid, but they're not the centerpiece. Those are not the people we spend the most time with within the pages of Harry Potter. Harry's fine, he's stubborn, he has a couple other characteristics you can point at him, but he's not the deepest or richest. Ron can be annoying, and most fans don't like him that much. Hermione's good. Hermione is one of the better characters. She's pretty great, but again, she's not the focus. This is Harry Potter, and the character that this series hangs on is not the most interesting. You flip that with his Dark Materials, and the most interesting character is the one we follow, Lyra. Lyra's brilliant. She's a liar, she's mischievous, she's cunning, she's brave, she's also afraid, she's a loyal friend, she is filled with so much love and compassion. These characteristics add up to a phenomenal character, and we're so focused with her and through her eyes in this world, her child's view of this greater magical world that's being unveiled to her is oh so captivating. And then every character alongside her is well realized. Whether it's her demon or a polar bear she fights alongside, the characters in his Dark Materials all have pretty much 100% realization in terms of you can figure out their personality, you can figure out their motivations, and they all have their own agency in achieving their own goals. Even the villains and Lord Asriel, it's all there, and I can't wait to see these characters brought to the screen. And I understand in this video I may have seemed a bit negative towards Harry Potter in general, but I want you to know I do like Harry Potter. It's just when you're comparing these two beasts, you have one that has a lot more tact, maturity, and nuance compared to Harry Potter, which is more just meant to be enjoyable, fun, and whimsical. So it almost is like this inadvertent talking down to Harry Potter. I don't mean to happen, but just exists. And with the character point and the maturity of character handled in his Dark Materials, once again, I'm going to hand this point to his Dark Materials. For readability, we're going to have to pretty much split hairs because these are both incredibly easy to read series. The prose is fine within both. I think His Dark Materials has slightly better prose. There's a lot more energy and flexibility to the way Philip Pullman handles his words that I find to pay off to a greater extent. But J.K. Rowling's just shorter sentence structure and concise, to the point paragraphs really are the reason why I think people binge The Sorcerer's Stone in a day. And that on its raw face value just means that Harry Potter is ridiculously readable. There is a legitimate point to be made here, and just how many people I know will pick up a Sorcerer's Stone on a rainy day and finish it in that day, and I want to put it down. That's a great achievement. I can't argue with that. Well, I personally find the Golden Compass to be more enthralling as I read it. There's just so much evidence I see in today's culture of people just wanting to read Harry Potter again and again more often. I can't really fight against the overwhelming evidence here. I'm being taken down by just statistics of how many people, by raw data, prefer that I've talked to reread Harry Potter. And I'm not talking about sales figures here. You could easily misconstrue what I'm saying here as, oh, Daniel's saying Harry Potter sells more, and therefore more people end up rereading out that number. No. I'm talking about percentage of people I know who have read Golden Compass and read Harry Potter, who then reread those series. J.K. Rowling, there's something about her writing that people just find so digestible. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, that it can be debated. Maybe it's just the fact that it's so easy to digest that could be a hindrance in some way. I know a lot of fantasy fans do like to have their Tolkien high fantasy kind of prose going on, but J.K. Rowling's kind of more modern, down-to-earth, simpler, that readability is through the roof, and I'm going to have to give Harry Potter this point. And that means we are all tied up. Not something I do intentionally, but does happen fairly often here for these Versus videos. For the setting point, which series has a more interesting, well-realized setting? This is kind of a point that looks back on all the previous points and says, how well do they add up? What's the mixture? What's the blend? Both incredibly strong. Standing in one corner, we have Harry Potter with the Wizarding World, one of the most interesting and well-realized magic systems ever. It completely saturates all aspects of the world. Well, you can levy the criticism at Harry Potter, like, well, if this magical item exists, why didn't they do this in this book? That can be levied against most fantasy series. It's just a common criticism that can exist. It's still probably the most completely saturated magical world ever. We see magic in everything here. And I'm not talking just about the books. The movies did a phenomenal job of bringing this to life as well. Not that I'm taking that into account. I just want to point that out. There is history to the Harry Potter world, not an incredible amount specifically within the text of the original series books, which is what I'm pulling from, but there's a decent amount there. The themes certainly fit the world provided to us especially well, having this school setting that is dominant throughout most of the series lends to the characters growing up, and then pulling drastically away from that school setting matches where our characters are in their life at this point. All really well coming together to have a fantastic setting for Harry Potter, one that matches the story, as they say in Harry Potter, bloody well. I don't think they say that. I just said it because I wanted to. And in the other corner, we have His Dark Materials, which has a setting that is completely different, but just as well realized. While Harry Potter's treatment of children is off at this whimsical school, His Dark Materials is not a whimsical, nice, magical school. And we have a character who isn't following what feels like a certain set path the setting provides within this world. Well, Harry Potter pretty much goes to school, back from school, 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 off into the world. Lyra's trajectory within His Dark Materials is much more chaotic and sporadic, and you explore this world. So you explore this world in a setting as a whole, and I think in a much more rich, vivid way. While Hogwarts is realized better than any one aspect from His Dark Materials world, we certainly get a more diverse view of His Dark Materials' world because of the perspective we're following being so strange. And I think that setting as a whole actually becomes richer as a result. Every time we're in the Wizarding World but stepping outside of Hogwarts within Harry Potter, it feels like strange territory. Meanwhile, in His Dark Materials, we're living in strange territory. Once Lyra's adventure really begins, we never really feel safe with her again. This child is lost completely. And with the theming being so on point, the magic system being arguably more mature than Harry Potter's in different ways, and the characters so much stronger at the core of the story, I feel like the overall setting, the blending of everything for His Dark Materials does come out on top, and it's why it's a series I respect so much. Do not take this video as me saying Harry Potter is bad. That is wrong. These are two of the best YA series of all time, and I'm simply comparing them in different ways. But there are other points that are just as valid as the ones I'm providing here now. So a different list could have Harry Potter winning out by quite a bit, or it could have His Dark Materials winning out by even larger margin. That's completely just up to how you structure this video. I want to make that really clear here. His Dark Materials has won. In my weird internet video, that is an excuse to talk about two awesome fantasy series in a way where we put them against each other, because I think there's some very interesting technical things between these two series I'd love to talk about. Harry Potter as a fantasy series set out to be whimsical and have the reader grow up with these characters. You start with such an innocent little tale in the Sorcerer's Stone, and by the end of the series, we are having dark, adult moments in Harry Potter. It does transcend out of YA, I feel, and just have more adult fantasy towards the end. One of the best transitions of that and examples of growing with your readers I've ever seen. His Dark Materials kind of took a different approach to having these more mature themes kids could pick up on within the text. Just have them be woven in subtly. Have a series where you never back down from having a more adult conversation. Just hope the kids pick up on it. Hope your story makes such an impact that maybe a child who loved a story once will come back as an adult and pick up even more. Maybe you'll plant the seeds of an idea, and I do believe His Dark Materials plants a lot of seeds in kids' minds in terms of questioning authority, questioning spiritual guidance, finding your own happiness and answers to the wider, crazier universe on your own. Being able to say no to authority is one of my favorite themes in His Dark Materials and one of the best realized without a doubt. Also encouraging kids to be more self-confident, which Harry Potter does as well, just as well. Although His Dark Materials has which is something I've very rarely seen any adult author tell a child. Yes, lying is all right when it's appropriate. Again, something that exists in Harry Potter, but I feel like it's handled a little more bluntly, which again in YA can be a good or bad thing. I'd love to see this discussion continue in the comments down below. Let me know, which series do you love more, which one made a larger impact on you as a reader, and which, when you read as a child, do you think made a larger impact on you emotionally in the way you interpret the world around you? Because both of these series, without question, have helped shape generations. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And I'm going to leave a pinned comment down there where you can tell me which versus video you want to see next first. Have a good one, y'all. Peace. And of course, I would like to record a special shout out to my latest high tier Patreon, Anahia Viro. I hope I said that right. Thank you so much for the support, and I hope you guys are having a great start to your week.